Yep, come
or
on.
a 5-minute comment. Let's do that.
Go ahead.
And tell me about your life too.
So one more question. Are you doing any writing with Ace, or has he talked about doing any writing?
No.
Haven't done any writing?
I don't know, the whole thing's still real new. I mean, we're still getting to know each other. We've only really done 2 tours together. You know, they were pretty short, so who knows what'll happen over time.
I will tell you though, he did mention something to me a couple nights ago about the next Origins record. He is already talking about it because he's super excited. He just moved into his new place in San Diego. He said his new studio's up and running, so I know you guys are excited about it. There's been no talk of us playing anything, but he's already got the next record in mind, so there'll be new music with Ace for you guys. So he's always thinking about recording this stuff.
I've done some bicycle riding with Ace, but no songwriting. Sorry, I misunderstood.
That's actually texting.
We have time for one more question. One more question. Raise your hand. Yeah, come on up, sir. What is your name? Where are you from?
Joe from
Rick from Ashburn, Virginia. So, during the show, which song do you look forward to the most performing? And which one do you want to hear the most? It's easy for me.
My new favorite, and you know, it's no secret, so no spoiler here. You know we're doing a 78 solo, this whole thing. My new favorite is Anita Love. Man, we rehearsed yesterday afternoon and the night before last, and there was nothing that was overlooked through the record as we can get it. Ace is super excited in rare form. But man, Anita Love, just the delay on the guitar and every part. I mean, you guys are gonna go. It's just, we're real excited about it. Ace is just, so that's gonna be what I'm looking forward to most is Anita Love. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's probably 4 or 5 songs that Ace has never played. So Ozone, Wiped Out, Anita Love, Fractured Mirror, and
One other thing, it is real funny though, because, you know, Ace is he's a space cadet. I mean, he's hilarious, man. And we'll sit there and we'll be playing something and looking over stuff, and he literally like just scratches his head and go, let these parts. He's like, what the fuck was I thinking when I wrote this?
There was so much cocaine in those days.
yeah, a lot of cocaine. He kept talking, well, I don't know what stories I'm gonna tell. I said, well, sounds like cocaine.
You guys should make a drinking game tomorrow. How many times he says blow and cocaine while telling stories about this album.
I think for songs though, I would say probably Wiped Out. Anton is such a great drummer and he was such a great foil for Ace. Ace can have these trippy parts that go in 3s rather than 4s, and Anton would just play through it and tie it together. So that's gonna be a fun one.
What song are you looking forward to most to playing?
I think Ozone came out great because with 3 guitars, the harmony's there. And that's why he never played it before, was because you wouldn't sing it with 2 guitars, and that album came out great. Anita Love sounds great too.
I'm with Ryan. I'm Anita Love. Sounds fucking awesome. Really excited about that one.
It does, and also one of the cool things, just to watch it, because I'm a fly on the wall there, we all are. But looking over and seeing Jeremy and Ace doing like harmony parts together, because it's a trip, man. Because even with Gene, that was one thing that there were a lot of people like, why 3 guitars? It's like, why not? Why not? Why do you not want more money?
And I think I've said on every podcast that you're not paying extra for the other guitar player.
Exactly.
You're not paying for it. So.
But no, seeing Jer and Ace doing like the 2-part harmonies, you're like, oh my god! It's like there's even a couple things where you 3 parts and really stack it up. Because there's some songs on that record that had upward of 6, 7 guitar parts on it. So we're trying to pick the most prominent parts, make sure they're there, so it sounds, you know, you guys are hearing what you want to hear. But you guys are gonna dig it. We're real excited about it.
I feel bad for going for the hit song, but New York Groove is one of my favorite songs of all time, and I've never heard it live. And I have a flight that I have to catch at 6 p.m. and I'm gonna tempt fate and wait until I hear New York Groove before I get in the car. I might end up missing my flight, but I have to watch New York Groove live before I get out of here. So that is my goal on Sunday, to see that song. And every time I land in New York, that's the song that always plays in my head. While everybody looks at me like I'm a dork, like, why is that guy strutting down the JFK concourse like he's somebody? Like, and I'm just thinking of New York Groove. Here I am in the city. I'm back in the New York Groove.
And contrary to what Ace said, we are playing the record in sequence. He's like, I don't know, we might switch it up. We're like, no! We will not open with Fractured Mirror, I promise.
I gotta selfishly ask, what is your favorite story about, you were sharing Gene stories and Ace stories. Do you have a personal favorite story about Ace or Gene, about working with them, that is just a really funny story that you share with friends?
They're like snowflakes. There's just no idea. I mean, they're all beautiful.
I've got a great Ace story.
But in the Gene, the one thing about Gene is, I will tell you this: stepping into that gig, he's a force, and we were always acquaintances. We're very grateful and privileged to be able to say that we're personal friends with him now. That's awesome, and that we trust each other. And you know, it was really cool of him to trust us to be his band. But the one thing, point being, walking into that gig was a little scary, because it's like, man, I don't know if is he nice? And the minute that you get on that side, when you're actually working with him, it became, I want everybody to know that he's the nicest guy on the planet, and it's absolutely just, you know, he's the reason we're with Ace, and he's been really, really good to us. But what I want everybody to know is he's so funny, and all he does is mess with us, and all he does is joke with us. And you know, he does tell us the same joke over and over. But one of the funny things is that, and he did get me the first couple times, like we'd be in a hotel, he'd text me, say, hey, come down in the room when I'm ready to go, whatever. And he does this thing when you knock on the door, and I'm up here, and his room's always dark as shit, it's blacked out. It's like, you know, and the door opens, but he would always be on his knees. And he would stick his head out down here, and he would like, you know, he does it when he rolls his eyes in the back of the head, and his eyes are white. He's like, it scared the shit out of me, because I'm up here, and then the door opens and his head pops out down here, and he's like,
And he does it every time. You go to his hotel.
that's his thing.
Like Dorf on Satan, like it's like.
And he'll say, did I get you? Did I get you?
Yeah, did I get you?
So about Gene messing with you, first gig we did in Vancouver was this corporate gig, this big convention. Trudeau was there, and it was huge. So, and our dressing room area was kind of like a pipe and drape thing, the 2 rooms. Shannon was there. So again, first gig, getting to know each other. So I'm on my knees like this in my bag, getting something out of my bag, getting my necklaces out. And apparently I'm really focused, right? So my hair's down like this. So I'm getting stuff out, and Jeremy's over here, and he goes, hey Phil, I look up, Gene's bare ass is right here. Like, I got moved point blank. Like, first gig, it was like, oh, it's gonna be like this, isn't it? So, that was it, yeah, he's great.
He walked in to tell us something, and Philip was down there. Mine wasn't that bad. He likes to put salt in your drinks or on your food when you're not around. He got me 3 or 4 times, and I couldn't figure out how to get it back. And Shannon told me that he is deathly afraid of lobsters, shrimp, crabs, stuff like that. So the last show we did in Verona, his room was next to mine, and I bought a bunch of fake lobsters. And I knocked on his door, and I put one on the ground, and he opened his door about 3 inches, and then closed it. And then I put them all around his monitors and shit. The Ace story was really good. It was when we were in Japan, and Christopher Williams from Accept was playing with us on drums that tour. And we knew he wasn't going to be able to make the cruise because Accept had obligations. And he had made that clear to Ace, and you know, Ace liked him. So we finished our run in Tokyo, and we're going to Osaka the next day. So we still had 2 shows left. So after we finished Tokyo, we're saying, yeah, okay, we'll see you later. And he's like, yeah, I'll see you on the cruise. And Christopher's like, well, what? Ace, what we talked about it, like, I'm not going to be able to make a cruise. And we're playing Osaka tomorrow, like, I'm going to see you tomorrow. He's like,
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Any funny stories that you want to relate about Ace or?
I played 4 shows with him, 3 shows. And so after the show, we don't, you know, when you're on the road, you're not necessarily spending a lot of time with each other, you know what I mean? Because Ace is traveling, you know, by himself, he's flying ahead and stuff. So you just see him before the show, we'd have a powwow, and then after the show, hey, it was a good show, he hugs, okay, and that's it. So I didn't really know the guy, you know? And he goes, hey, what kind of snare drum you got? And I go, Black Beauty? He goes, you do a lot of studio work? And I'm like, I think he's feeling me out to play on the record, but this is the question. I said, yeah. I said, all right. So, like a month later, he gives me a call. Actually, our son had just been born. I was in the hospital. We're going to go home the next day, and he called me and said, hey, I just wanted to go check out this studio. It's up in Northern California, and do you want to go record? And I go, I just had a baby. He goes, ow. And I go, hold on. So I said to my wife, hey, it's Ace. And she's like, that's cool, go ahead. So I said, all right, we go. So he comes to my house in an Escalade, and he's got these amps in the back, right? And we're gonna go on this like 5-hour drive together. And you know, we don't really know each other. So we're driving, we're making small talk for probably about like 30 minutes, and then we're like getting up into the hills. It's quiet for like 20 minutes, and he goes, hey, you think we really walked on the moon? And I'm like, I haven't really thought about this in a long time. I think so. I feel like we did. Pretty sure my dad like cried when he was a kid. I think it happened. So anyway, we had this discussion, but he's way into space, like for real, you know, and like, you know, little conspiracy theories here and there and stuff. But yeah, that was a funny one. And then the other one I'll say on the nice tip is, so we had the Escalade, we're up north, and we were leaving the studio that day, and he goes, I'm gonna go start the car, and then, you know, we'll get out of here. I go, okay. It was cold out. So I walk out and I get in the car and the seat warmer's on. And I was like, oh, I didn't turn that on. And I looked where the thing is, it's over on my side, the Escalade too. So he would have had to either get in the car and like reach over or walk around and turn the seat warmer. I go, how fucking sweet is this guy? Like, turn on the seat warmer for me. So anyway, I think the overarching thing is the public image is one thing, but as people, they're just really super sweet.
I got, quickly before I get out of here, I'm going to share my one Gene story, which we were talking about the other night. I went to Gene's house to film an episode of Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, and Gene wasn't home when we first got there, so I was hanging out with the production crew and telling jokes, telling stories. Gene shows up, and he comes right to me and says, why are you here? Are you gonna make fun of me? What are you gonna do to me? I said, no, I just want to hang out with. You know what? Can I tell you what would be a perfect day for me? This would be a perfect day for me. If I could just hang out with you and tell you jokes, and then you tell me your favorite jokes. That would be an awesome day. If I could just hang out with you and just tell you jokes. And he said, you want to hear a joke? And I said, sure. And he goes, I'll tell you a joke. This is a 5-minute joke that I can summarize in 3 sentences. A guy dies, he goes to heaven, and St. Peter's giving him a tour of heaven, and they open up a door, and sitting on a throne is Gene Simmons. And this guy says to St. Pete, what's Gene Simmons doing here? And St. Peter says, that's not Gene Simmons, that's God. He just thinks he's Gene Simmons. And I thought, oh shit, I'm getting struck down right in this moment. I gotta get the fuck out of this house. I gotta go. And what has always amazed me is how much of a great sense of humor those guys have about themselves. And that's why I love them. So one more time, please.
I want to tell you one thing though. Just because everybody's here at this Kiss at a Kiss expo because we love Kiss stuff and everything. Me and Phil and Jerry, I don't know if Matt's been there, but when you go to Gene's house, and I'm not exaggerating one bit, you see his office on TV, it's 3 stories. He gives you Kiss shopping bags. Kiss shopping bags. And he's like, go, take whatever you want. And you get to the point where you feel, imagine, well, everybody here, if you gotta go into Gene's house and just take whatever you want, and you get to the point where you feel bad because you have so much stuff. and he doesn't want to take it. I mean, you want to take everything, but you don't. And just as a Kiss fan, it's like, yes, it's not cool. You get Kiss shopping bags at Gene's house.
And he's just trying to get rid of shit in his house.
And with that, we gotta end this because Lita Ford is coming up next.